Ladies and gentlemen, your favorite Sunday night show is on the air, the Bama Standard Post Game show. As always, your favorite hosts in the Bama Nation are live on here with you. I'm Justin Riley, and with me, as always, is a living legend who is responsible for all the likes and subscriptions that we have, and all you people being in this chat each and every week. The man, the myth, the legend, Coach Smook. What's going on, my friend?
What's going on, brother? How you doing tonight?
Man, coming off another Tide victory, Iron Bowl week, things are exciting. Before we get into it, I'll remind everybody, hit that like and subscribe button. It's what keeps us motivated and coming back every week. Jump in the live chat, ask your questions, because we're definitely going to field all of them. If you're watching the replay, let us know how you feel in the comment section below. As always, we are brought to you by Workspace Solutions and Oakmont Financial Properties. All right, we are here. We are live the week of the Iron Bowl. Got a lot to talk about going before we, jump into the Iron Bowl. But man, how you feeling tonight, brother?
I'm feeling good, honestly. I'm ready for this season to be over with. I'm ready for these guys to just, whoever's going to leave. I'm hoping we just have a fresh start, man. But I would love to see some type of pride this weekend. This is the Iron Bowl. As a Bama player, as a Bama fan, anything that has to do with Bama, you may not know anything else about Alabama, but Iron Bowl week, it's time to show up. And so if these guys can show up 1 week out of the year, it got to be this week. You know what I'm saying?
Has to be this week.
That's my prayer. It has to be.
And we've been questioning the want to all year. The product we've had on this field this season has not been something that we anticipated at all. We had everything to play for the entire season. Just didn't seem like everybody's checked in. Do we have a shift back to the old Bama this week when the ultimate pride game is going to kick off Saturday? That is the resounding question right now.
And so, I believe we do, man. I believe we do. If you don't see any, if we haven't seen the crazy changes, mid-game changes that Saban is known for, in big games. If we haven't seen it all year, I believe this will be the game that he begins to make those end of season statements like, okay, Bill, we know you're out the door. You don't want to run the ball. I'm taking over. I feel like this is the week. If Bill O doesn't fall in line, even though we know he's out the door, if he don't fall in line this week, we'll see Coach Saban take over. I'm telling you, man.
I've been waiting on it all season when the critical moments and games were going on. Didn't see it, man. Didn't see it. But I'm going to be optimistic. If it's going to happen, let it be in the Iron Bowl because, hey, this is the Super Bowl of rivalries. Before we start jumping into our content here, let me go ahead and take this question from 6-0. Question for the panel. What is going on with the fans? Stadium half empty. Fans look bored. No energy, no excitement. Is it Bill O'Boring or Pete Gutless? Sad, roll tide. I guess the energy yesterday matched the energy of the team because it didn't look like the team wanted to be there either. It's probably one of the most pitifully played games. And, to be quite honest, because of how that we have better athletes, we're able to skate through it. I mean,
hey, we got to remember, man, this is, I don't know. 6-0, I understand what you're saying, man. You my boy.
It was cold too yesterday.
Those games every year, yes. Those games every year, those cupcake games before the Iron Bowl are usually dead because some people really put off Thanksgiving. They either put off Thanksgiving or they celebrate Thanksgiving, get all their visiting out the way the week that Alabama has the cupcake game, and they go and do their traveling because it's a home game this year. It's not like last year, when we had Auburn. The last home game of the season last year was our cupcake game. We have Auburn at home for the Iron Bowl this year. So
yeah,
I believe that had a lot to do with it. But those 11 o'clock kickoffs are hard to get up for. And you could tell the difference between the first half and the second half as far as the players. Their get up changed, their energy changed from the first half to the second half.
Yeah. Well, there's one player that was largely consistent the entire game, and that was our boy Jace McClellan.
Yes,
he showed up the entire game. Shout out to our guy. Shout out to his mom. Going to show love to him, and we're going to jump into him and his production a little bit later. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. before we kind of get into the game, I know you had some questions going in. I had some questions going in. Being the quote unquote cupcake game, you start to kind of wonder, first and foremost, how much of the young guys are we going to see this week? I know that's not a question you ever asked Coach Saban. We know the end result if you were to ask him about that.
Right.
But I mean, that is the overall question. The entire season we've been asking, why hasn't Christian Leary been on the field? Why haven't we seen Tyler Harrell? Why haven't we seen just name a player? Well, this is the game where those questions are answered, and we ultimately are supposed to see these type guys. Did we see them? That's the resounding no.
No.
All right, Tyler Harrell had a resounding 1 catch for 6 yards. Man, that blazing speed got an amazing game. But hey, not going to be bitter about that. But my biggest thing, and what I really wanted to see in this game, was not a lot of Bryce and a whole lot of Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson, because Bryce didn't really need to play. To be honest with you, I probably would have sat him in this game, given his health issues. Would have let him heal. Didn't really need him, but he played anyway. But I was hoping more of a half of, say, Jalen Milroe, a half of, say, Ty Simpson, because that's who we're going to be picking from come spring, 8A game, and going into 2023. So we need to give them meaningful reps to kind of get them ready and get more of a clear picture as to who may be the signal caller next year. Now, what do we get, you say? We got 1/4 of those guys. I think we got, what, Coach, 2 series of Jalen Milroe and maybe a series and a half of Ty Simpson. Not a
Yeah.
whole lot to grade them on. Of course, everybody started being negative about Jalen Milroe, saying, oh, he ain't it. He ain't got no arm. Ain't no way he's starting it. That is not a measuring stick, guys.
Guys, like,
I'm still saying you're not going to see the true ceiling of a Jalen Milroe or Ty Simpson until we know who the coordinator is going to be. If a change is made, dear Lord, let a change be made, and we get a competent guy in there who can develop players. And even then, even though you have a better advantage of seeing who they're going to be, you're not going to get a full picture until maybe 4 or 5 games in. So the jury will be out on who the guy is going to be next year. But okay, either way, I'm mad because we didn't get that extended time to really decide for ourselves who's Jalen, who's Ty. And before I get to my other questions, Coach, go ahead and start speaking on that.
And I'm right there with you, Justin. I would have loved to seen Jalen just get the start and see if we do have a actual offensive coordinator that can call plays in a situation where it will play to his advantage as far as the athletic standpoint. The gap of talent. That's one of the games. Throw Jalen out there, and plays that you would see him be able to run and be effective in those formations like Matt Caddell and Mike McCoy were talking about. You would love to see Bill O'Brien cater to that in this type of game. We didn't get to see it, and I think it has a lot to do with just how inconsistent the offense has been the whole season. And at the day, we have to just accept it that this team is what they are. What Bama of old, Bama of the dominant Saban Bama that we've become accustomed to is just not there this season. And as much as we want to see Kendrick Law and Kobe Prentice and Isaiah Bonds and Roydell Williams and Jace McClellan and those guys get those touches in Milroe, even on the defensive side, I wanted to see more Perry, more Latham. I want to see some of the Alexander. I want to see some of Murphy. I wanted Deontay Lawson to get a start over Toa. Like, this is the game where you could have did that. I wanted to see Christian Story at free safety and just allow him to make mistakes in this type of game. Devontae Smith. I wanted to see him. Robinson. Like, it's so much talent lying in wait, knowing that guys are leaving next season. Junior Jordan Battle and Helms, they're both gone. Toa's gone. Moody has to be gone. It's his 5th year. Why not? So yeah, I'm right there with you, man. It was kind of disturbing. And then just to see Huggin Henry doing what Huggin Henry does, like I saw fans celebrating that we stopped Austin Peay and But the only reason we got to stop them the goal line is because they missed the pass interference call on Huggin Henry. You know, like that's just not the Bama standard, my guy. Like if you're gonna pop that dude, pop him. You know, it's within 5 yards. Pop him before the ball gets in the air. Don't hold
Yeah.
him after you beat because he put a. I mean, the guy didn't even do a shimmy move on him. He just he faked like he wanted to jam the guy and totally failed in that aspect. Like it was funny, man. It's becoming hilarious to watch Huggin
It
Henry.
is comedy.
I mean, and thanks to Deontay Lawson and Jalen Moody for being aggressive, because if it wasn't for them, that running back could have broke for a couple big gains up the middle. While Huggin Henry is going and making contact with a center that's not even trying to block him, you know, like you're running into a block that's not even for you. Like the
He's
lanes are
like
there.
he's like that
Otis,
old dog that just won't die, but is losing his eyesight and he just keeps running
exactly,
into walls. That's
for
kind of
no
him.
reason. Barking for no reason. Like what the blinds get
And then he's
air, you know what I'm
after
saying?
after a
Like
play, I'm like, bruh, sit down somewhere.
yeah. And then like his first tackle wasn't even that impactful. It was like you really caught the dude on the way down. You didn't pop him. You still hugged him while he was on the way down. Most people try to take that kill shot. You catch a dude going down, you want to try to hit him a little hard to make him think about getting back up. Hugging Henry
Right.
goes and wraps him up and falls to the ground hard with him. What you're hitting the ground before the defender? That's not good. You know that to me that's poor tackling, anyways. But and then you get up and celebrate and almost are behind receiving the calls because if you pay attention to film, you know Austin Peay likes to run a hurry up offense on positive plays
And they
or any
did it.
play where the clock is, and they did it.
They're
They
very
stuck to their
successful,
guns.
actually.
Exactly. 200 some yards with Austin Peay, and majority of it was in the first half. Like I said, it usually takes a team to wake up. It takes a while to wake up for those early kickoffs, but it was pitiful watching him out there, and it was just it was funny at the same time because we know who he is, and Hugging Henry gonna be Hugging Henry.
Gotcha. Find what you're good at, and he does. But yeah, I mean, I want to see a little bit more of the young guys, like you said. Well, first of all, offensively, we
Mm-hmm.
got two more games of Trey Sanders, man. In a game like this, let the man have touches. He had 2 carries for 6 yards. Is that the best you
Mm.
can? Oh, sorry, 16 yards. Honestly, is that the best coaches, coordinators that you can give this man after all he's been through? And he's more than likely going to be hitting the portal as soon as the last regular season game hits 0-0. I'm ashamed there. Defensive side of the ball, yeah, there's a lot of young guys I got to see, man. All this hype coming in. I really want to see Murphy, my guy, Jeremiah Alexander. Really want to see him turn loose and him and be allowed to do things to give us a glimpse of what we're going to see out of this young guy who, quite possibly could take on a Will Anderson type role next year and have the same kind of impact. But did we get to see that? No, we didn't. But back to what you're saying as far as how well they move the ball, Austin Peay, that is. To be honest with you guys, if not for self-inflicted wounds, this game could have actually been tied up, or Austin Peay could have been actually ahead at half. That's how just unmotivated the team appeared in this game in the first half. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Coach says that these guys kind of woke up in the second half. I kind of felt like they were in that halfway awake, halfway asleep state still. But again, because we have the more dominant athletes and in greater numbers, we were able to do a whole lot more and just do what we need to do to coast on through. That not just being not being negative. That's just kind of the feel I had. Like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of motivation from the guys to play yesterday. There was a few guys that really I felt like was giving their all, and one guy who's giving his all is Coach Smook in his horrible Wi-Fi. Hey, we know the efforts there, Coach. We're never going to deny that, but Boost Mobile ain't it.
Hey, let me tell you, the moment I get into my own place, man, it's gonna be you know how I get down, man. I don't even stream as much on my gaming channel because of this horrible Comcast. Hey, Comcast, I tagged you last week. I'm gonna tag you again. Y'all gonna answer me one day. Y'all
Man,
gonna
listen,
answer me. We
Maybe
gonna
you should leave the truck stop Wi-Fi and go to a Starbucks. Maybe there'll be a
hey,
little bit better quality going on.
Starbucks ain't no better.
Hey, sponsor
I did
alert.
a
Sponsor.
Hey, Starbucks ain't no better. Them guys, I went over there last week to do a Zoom call and it was the same issue. So it's just this area, man. It's just this area. But like I said, man, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I take my lickings right now, but when we get into the new spot, we'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
better.
But
yeah, I
it's,
heard everything up until Jeremiah Alexander. I think
yeah.
that's where
But it just kind of seemed to me like it was a half-ass effort at best the entire way. There wasn't really any true tackles being made. There was arm tackles being made, arm tackles aplenty. It it just wasn't hitting, man. And this kind of goes into my ultimate question I had going in. I tried to speak to you a little bit about this last week when I initially found out about it. Bo Scarborough went and spoke to the team on Thursday morning. Okay. If y'all not aware of that, he did. And if you tuned into In My Own Words on Friday, Bo was on the call with Stephen M. Smith talking a little bit about how that meeting went. Well, I will just tell you, if you heard that, that was the rated G politically correct version of what Bo said. What Bo said would, to me, is very impactful. Now, did the team actually take anything away from that? That remains to be seen. I sure didn't see it, this past Saturday. And you probably saying, well, Justin was against Austin Peay. I don't give a care at all, man. I need to see some life. I need to see some want to, some pride. And that's the thing that Bo was challenging them on. Guys, where is your pride? We built this Bama standard that everybody's accustomed to, and you're breaking it down. You're not understanding what so many bled and broke their bodies for all these years. You don't understand it. And it's funny is that he asked these guys point blank, why did you come to Alabama? They didn't give an answer right away. And he's sitting there looking around. You mean to tell me ain't none of y'all could tell me why y'all came to Alabama? Even then, they give some half-hearted answer. And his response to them, if y'all can't appreciate the standard that we built for you guys, if y'all don't understand it, y'all can't buy into the process, there's the effing door. Get the F out. I mean, if y'all want to hear more of what Bo said, I'll let you tune in Tuesday to the Bama Standard. I'm going to let him tell it. But I'm going to tell you, there was no hand holding. There was no sugarcoating.
Yeah.
There was no emotional feeling timeout. They couldn't get away from it. It was a come to Jesus meeting. Whether they accepted the gospel, I don't know. I know a few guys probably were locked in, like a Jace McClellan. I'm going to say his name a lot in this show because he balled out. But
yeah.
That was my ultimate question going in. After Bo Scarborough, a guy who built this Saban standard. I mean, yes, Coach Saban ultimately did it, but listen, you get what I mean. These guys are pissed off, and Bo was their representative. And Bo's pissed. And he's also pissed because he is basically being the middleman, the representative for all the guys he played with and even before he played who are calling him nonstop. What the hell's going on, Bo? We got to do something about that. He's going on there in the front line to try to do something about it. The least they could do is show that they actually got something out of it and show him some respect and show up. Wow. Dramatic pause. Coach Smook.
And I got you, man. I feel like,
well, there he is.
If anything, man, it shouldn't even be on the former players, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
It shouldn't even be on the former players, man. It should be on these position coaches. Like I'm buying into what my big brother Mike McCoy was saying on the show yesterday. Like, man, look, we need to get into this staff and get some coaches that understand the process, that understand the Bama standard for real. Stop trying to rebuild these revive these careers and rehab coaching center. This ain't time for it no more. Like, it worked good with coaches who really came in and bought into the process, who really had nothing else to lose. This was their do or die moment as coaches. And Bill O'Brien, he could have went somewhere else and got a head coaching job. The NFL coaching, tag for him, it would have worked well with him to go and coach at a Nebraska or a Colorado State or somewhere where there was, where these schools were looking for coaches. Why Alabama chose to put him as a priority to become an offensive coordinator, I don't know. And I was one of the ones that had a little hope, being that, okay, this guy's experienced. He's got the tenure. Maybe he could come in and sustain for 1 or 2 years. But 2 years in, he hasn't. And I wasn't sold on him. I've never been a Bill O'Brien fan ever. I was never sold on Bill O'Brien, but I felt like he could sustain, being that he had top tier talent. He had, a staff under him that, to me, before he showed up, was doing a pretty decent job in keeping the guys motivated and locked in. So if Bill O'Brien showing up is exposed this much, there's only one answer to the problem, and that's Bill O'Brien being here. I feel like those guys on the offensive side of the ball, I feel like that whole team they don't have any trust in Bill O'Brien as a coach, as a play caller, as a motivator, as a mentor, none of that. And when you have that type of issue, that type of attitude amongst the locker room of players who are taught, hey, we're going to keep our stuff in-house, we're going to handle it in-house, there's some more things going on inside the locker room than what we can see as fans. And it's showing on that field, because even Bryce Young on the sideline is just detached. I don't see him running to the headset as much as he was week 2 and 3. Like, I don't see that happening. I see him going to talk to Coach Saban more than he is talking to the offensive coordinator on the headset, And I think having the OC on the sideline, like we've been saying since he got there, plays that much of a factor. It feels good as a quarterback if you go out there and you make a mistake and you're able to come and talk to your offensive coordinator, your quarterback's coach that designed this offense for you to allow you to be successful, and y'all are able to have that eye-to-eye contact to say, get that feeling of, hey, I understand you saw this, but this is what we need you to do right now so this can open up later. And the fact that Bill O'Brien doesn't have that mental capacity as an offensive coordinator to be that on the headset, that should have been more him to come down to the sideline. And I don't see energy on it. I remember it was the defense that brought the energy for the team. You want your defense to be rowdy. You want them to be hype. You want them to be the aggressors. You want them to be nasty. Sometimes your offense can do it. They could, but you want your offense to be locked into the point where the emotion doesn't affect them, because they have to go out and deal with the crowd noise. They have to go out and deal with the, getting the changes at the line and doing all this extra stuff, adjusting. They don't have as much reactive time. They have to cause reaction, so you don't expect it from the offense. You do want your few offensive linemen to be crazy every now and then. You want that running back that's going to pound. You want that wide receiver that's going to be physical and block downfield. But overall, you want the type of energy that Bryce Young has, that level of focus and the level, that demeanor to keep his composure is optimal. That's what you want for your offense. But defensive side, where's the energy from the sideline to the players on the field? Where's the energy? I don't see Freddie Roach, who was a energy guy for the defensive lineman. He was the energy for that defense. I don't see him hyping the defense up on the sideline. I don't see an athletic trainer on the sideline like we had Scott Cochran, hyping the guys up. I see guys over there looking like they doing more interviews than some of the actual coaches that's coaching. So it's one of those things where it's just the culture of football, NIL, players having to add that to their responsibilities, plus schoolwork, plus being a professional athlete, plus preparing to be a athlete. Like, all this is added to it, and somebody's mismanaging it on the lower levels. And it has to start first with the players themselves. They have to understand what they've committed to. And then secondly, it's up to those coaches to continue not to only develop these guys on the field, but also off the field. Yeah, I remember being for these players. I don't hear a lot of that in the locker room right now. We get back to that. We get rid of Bill O'Brien, because that type of energy is cancerous. I'm telling you, all it takes is one coach who's in a position where the rest of the coaches don't feel like he deserves to be in that position or hasn't earned that position, and they have these back of their mind thoughts every time they see or they step to a meeting, like, why is he even here? Like, man, this is pointless.
I agree.
Why are we wasting time with this guy? So I see a lot of that, man.
Yeah, you gotta ask yourself. A lot of people are just really going after Holman Wiggins right now, and I think about him. I think about Robert Gillespie. Both guys are very talented, at what they do, but I don't feel like one, they're being allowed to do what they do best and develop the players. And I honestly feel like you just said they're going to this team meeting and they're like, how in the blue hell is this dude from Craigslist in this position and getting paid to do what he does?
Like,
As far as energy goes, it was funny. I almost fell out my dang chair yesterday when I'm hearing the sidelines reporter from the SEC network, Lauren Sisler, talking about how much energy she's seen on the sideline as opposed to the rest of the season. I'm
where,
like, Lauren, what do you want? I love you, awesome
where
analyst, otherwise, but what game are you watching? Because I don't see that on the sideline. I haven't
the
seen it on the
most,
sideline.
don't mean to cut you off, but the most energy we saw was when those young guys got out there and started popping. When Latham got out there and caused that fumble and recovered it, that was the most energy I've seen from the defense in forever. And it was just like he didn't do anything spectacular. He just was playing hard, and it caused a play to happen. It caused something different to happen. And I can appreciate that from a young guy. You know, Latham, I think, is a sophomore, right? Is he a sophomore?
I believe so.
And like, you got young guys lying in wait, ready to bring that energy. I think that's what it is, man. I feel like these young guys are they're sitting there and they're just waiting for that moment. They know that they reading the social media, they reading the news articles, they know what's happening. They know that it's going to be put on them. That's why we talk about transfer portal and all this stuff. I believe a lot of these guys that are leaving is because they're in their latter half of their career. But these sophomores and these freshmen that we haven't been able to see, they're not. I don't believe they're going anywhere. I believe they're looking at this opportunity and licking their chops, especially with
Yeah, but you kind of got to ask yourself, though, will some of these young guys stay if these coaches are retained? That's a question that I'm asking. I've been actually talking to a parent of one of the players right now who is not happy and has let me know that the parents, as a collective group, are not happy with what they're seeing in terms of the coordinators. So, and we, in that discussion, we talked about what I just mentioned, that if the changes aren't made, there's going to be a lot of people hopping into that portal come off season. And
we know that.
And it's going to
We know
trickle
that.
down to the recruiting class as well. Guys, we have, I believe, the number one recruiting class right now for the 2023 guys coming in, highlighted by Richard Young and Justice Haynes on the offensive side of the ball. I'm telling you, if we retain Bill O'Brien, those guys are going to flip their commitments. And listen, Justice Haynes is a legacy at Georgia. Don't sit there and tell me that Georgia ain't tugging at him and the legacy of following in his father's footsteps is not weighing heavily upon his mind right now, especially if he's going to be subjected to an offense where he's not going to be allowed to do hardly anything.
I guarantee you, Bill O'Brien is already out the door. I know this has been a crazy season. I know Saban has made some different type of statements and things, but we all know Saban, man. We've watched Saban grow and evolve continuously throughout his tenure here at Alabama. Saban knows how to get the media riled up and get the media thinking, to show guys like, guys, we control the narrative. At the end of the day, we control the narrative. Saban controls the narrative. And I believe he's doing exactly what the media wants him to do by not speaking on. See, the media would love for Coach Saban to go out and call out Bill O'Brien for being a horrible play caller.
Yes,
the media
exactly.
Saban's not going to feed into that, because Saban know he can control the media by, hey, I'm still in charge, but I'm going to let my coaches do their job. I'm pretty sure Bill O'Brien doesn't even get the floor in half of these meetings. It's probably to the point now Bill O'Brien comes in, gives his little hey, this is my game plan, and Coach Saban's like, good job, buddy. You know, you still packing your bags, right? You started cleaning the desk out. We're getting closer to the end of the season. That's the energy I'm feeling, because those position coaches aren't even in Bill O'Brien's ear. You know, there's no continuity on the offensive side of the ball. And with Pete Golden, I feel like they already know, like, Pete Golden is a young guy. You know, Pete Golden might not leave Bama, but I don't think he's going to be the defensive coordinator next year either. He might not be defensive coordinator. He might go back to being linebacker coach. He only recruiting. His energy they had as a linebacker coach was decent, was good enough to sustain. But if he comes back as this defensive coordinator, it doesn't hurt us. He has the talent. He got these young guys coming in. He got a new secondary to work with next year. But Bill O'Brien has to go. If he shows up next year, like you said, and I'm willing to bet a paycheck, a full paycheck. If Bill O'Brien shows up next year, we're going to lose Justice Haynes to Georgia because Kirby is going to see. All right, that's going to be his pitch. That's going to be his pitch to Justice Haynes when he goes and talks to him. Hey, man, you seen what we did with your dad. You seen what we doing with Edwards. You know what I'm saying? Those backs that we got there now. Look, man, if you're trying to get 10 to 12 touches, in those cupcake games, come to Bama. Well, you might not start your freshman year, but you're going to be ready. You're going to get your opportunities to show us that you're ready. But if you want your chance, come to Georgia. Don't go over there. Bill O'Brien's not going to give you the ball.
Mm-mm.
And I'm telling you, man, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. And sad to say, Christian Leary, I pray you transfer, man. I pray you transfer. I want to see that. I want to see that kid go away and do what Jerome Ford and Alvin Kamara and even Zeke, even what Ziggy's doing. I mean, even Baker down
Javon
at
Baker's balling out at UCF right now.
I mean, honestly, skill-wise, I don't think he was better than any of the receivers that's here. He's just in a situation where it's favorable to his skill set. And that's all it is. Bill O'Brien has not created an offense or designed a scheme that's favorable to the skill set of all the athletes and talent that he has on that offensive side of the ball.
And a lot of people are kind of up in arms that Nick Saban has given them praise in these press conferences. Okay, people, what you understand is that Coach Saban has never been one to publicly berate anyone. It's never been his style. I believe that what he is saying to you, the general public, is a PR move.
Yeah,
he's going to do the politically correct response to all this. But internally, I'm hoping that he's having different conversations with his coordinators. But to you, the public, he's always going to present the best picture possible because, that's what you're supposed to do. But it blows my mind how Pete Golden has been named to the Broyles Award list for one of the nation's top coordinators. So I'm sitting here thinking, how in the world did he get on this list? Is it like Twitter now where if you pay $8 a month for a subscription, you can be verified? Did he pay a little something to get on that list? Because that's the only logical explanation I could come up with as to why he's on that list, because I haven't seen it on the field. I'm just going to call it like it is.
And then we got to remember, man, that you don't want to feed the fire in the midst of a dumpster fire. Like, you don't want to add fuel to it. And Coach Saban has been in this position before. When we lost in, I want to say 2012, we lost our first game to Ole Miss. I think it was Ole Miss lost. Or was that Texas A&M? I can't remember.
That was A&M.
I remember that year people were attacking the coaching staff, because we lost to Johnny Manziel, and that guy just played the perfect game of his life.
He was a freak. I mean, and it was just one of the. And that game was also one of those kind of perfect storms.
Yes.
Came at a crazy point in the season where we played the toughest part of our schedule, the meat of our schedule. We were banged up, and we
had
emotional
injuries.
high.
People forget that we had so many injuries. We had people were amped up to play hurt Bama. People were so ready to play a hurt Bama, man. Everybody knew Kevin Sumlin knew what he had an opportunity to do. And he had those guys. If he didn't have them prepped for any game for that season, he had them prepped for Bama. And how many times have we heard the narrative, the Bama dynasty is over? How many times have we heard
every year after every loss?
After every loss. And yet we have went on to win a national championship. Within 2 years of those articles and those questions, we've always been able to do it. The only difference now is that we're in a total new reset. And I was just about to allude to this comment by Chaz. Watching as a coach, I don't think the older players feel entitled or anything of that nature. They honestly look confused and a lack of confidence on the offense, and the defensive guys are playing out of position. I don't know how many times I've said this. DeMarco Hillis
George Teague did this past Tuesday night. He said the exact same thing, is that the defense is overly complex. They have players in the wrong positions. They're confused. They don't know what to do. They're having to think way too much. And because of doing so, they're playing slow and they're not able to play to the speed of the game.
I'm telling you, man, and for the most part, it's just like he said, and I laugh when these former players who have played on the pro level, who have played in this in the system, who have played under Saban. When I say stuff in the chat, it's like people just think I'm talking out of the side of my neck. But then you go and I don't talk to OJ Howard on a personal basis. I met George Teague once in my life, and it was at a camp. You know, I got a football from him. Bo Scarborough, I ran into him in a club in Auburn one year. Who else? Who else have we had? Uncle Big Bro Mike. I know him through passing because of, you know, our family ties. I mean, all the guys that come in and speak on these subjects that we speak on, saying generally the same thing. I don't count it to just knowing everything. It's just being a understanding football and what entails of being executing at a high level on a consistent basis. And guess how I learned that? Not just watching the games on Saturdays or watching the big games when it's on TV. I actually go back and I watch film. I've been to clinics and I've been to these different things that teach me the knowledge of football in general. And it's the simple things that aren't being executed as far as the coaching staff that's been the most upsetting for me as a fan, not as a coach, but as a fan of football. When you see Bill O'Brien continuously running the same sets for an offense with these personnel that do not fit the sets that you're running, you're trying to run speed sets with possession guys, and that's not how you're going to be successful. You're trying to run stretch plays with an offensive line who is dominating the interior, and why? You're averaging 6-7 yards a carry, and when you're running inside the tackles, but then you go and you get in a 3rd and 2, and you try to run a stretch play. Why? Like it doesn't make sense.
Or it's 4th and 1, and you're in shotgun.
But then you bring in your backup quarterback and your 3rd string quarterback, and you put them in a pistol. You know what I'm saying? You put them.
Thank you.
It doesn't make sense to me, and it's like, it's okay. My thing is this what's happening? Is there like a 2nd string offensive coordinator? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that what happened Saturday? Like, does Bill O'Brien hand the headset over to, I can't remember the assistant offensive coordinator. It's not Wiggins anymore, but
is it Gillespie?
I forget the young guy's name. I wonder if they're handing the headset over to him. Here you go, try it out. It might be Gillespie, the running back coach. That's who the running. Yeah, it might be him. So I mean, and before we go to another subject, for the people that keep attacking Holman Wiggins because of the lack of production from our wide receivers, let's dive into that. What we were talking about with Bryce Young, Justin. I want you to make the statement, because when I made the statement, people thought I was crazy. I want you to make the statement about Bryce Young.
Okay, I'm gonna get to that in just a second, but a few things I have to acknowledge first. First and foremost, my boy, Jamie Wilhelm. Roll Tide, and Justin and Coach, glad you guys are doing our show together. Got that $4.99 super chat. We appreciate you. Hey, Jessica, you're becoming one of my favorite people. Rumor has it Bill O'Brien couldn't pass a physical fitness test because it required him to run.
That's probably why he's not on the field. He can't make it down the tunnel run.
There we go.
You got Saban with a plastic hip, a new hip in his body, and he able to do it.
Then put Bill O'Brien in one of those Walmart rascals and have him come down the ramp of that.
Man, let me tell you, I would pay money to see Bill O'Brien run out the tunnel. I would pay money to see it.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about the next subject, and this is Bryce Young. Listen, arguably the best quarterback to ever play at the University of Alabama, hands down. The man plays like he's from Hogwarts. Magic happens because of him, and we are fooling ourselves if we didn't say a lot of our offensive success, if not pretty much all of it, is because of him. Excellent guy. He's going to be forever in our hearts and in the Hall of Fame, I'm sure. But there's a few things about Mr. Young that he still kind of does. It just kind of makes us go, oh, God. And that's the fact that he's still holding the ball way too long. And by doing so, putting himself in negative situations, he got obliterated yesterday for no reason because he was holding the ball too long. And then also, there are plenty of opportunities when he's, crab walking side to side for 7 to 9 seconds, and there's nothing but green around him. And he elects to not run the ball, but he's looking off receivers. They're open. I don't know what he's looking for, the home run, what, I don't know. But, I'm hearing Lauren Sisler, sorry, Lauren, to be picking on you. She was blaming the lack of offense or lack of wide receiver development on the fact that Bryce Young has not been full time. He's not been able to practice full time for the past several weeks. And no, that's not it. I think maybe him not being able to practice full time might be hindering his pocket awareness or maybe his decision making. But I'm sorry, I can't pin all of that on the wide receivers because Bryce wasn't there, 50% of the time. The same issues that I'm talking about, he's had his entire time in Alabama, and that's one of the few areas, yes, he has very few flaws, but it's one of the very few flaws he's not really improved upon. So
right,
I got to keep going. I'm going to let you hit the floor.
All right. So, and you talked about his inability to take the green, and I've never faulted a quarterback for tucking and running. Anything after 4 seconds, tuck that ball and run. Your offensive line has done their job. 4 seconds. Your wide receivers have done what they can possibly do at 4 seconds. But my thing is, let's go to the wide receivers. Bryce Young looked off 6 or 7 different crossing, quick release, whatever you want to call them. He looked them off so many times that, and it's not the right thing to do. I'm not making an excuse for the receivers, but sometimes you see these young guys that go out there like Kobe Prentice, who's beating and killing every time. Majority of the time when Kobe Prentice lines up in a slot, if they walk down there, man, if they're not playing a cloud 2 or a soft cover 2, Kobe Prentice is killing that man coverage inside. I don't care who you put out there on him. Isaiah Bonds, when he gets the motion to the slot and they motion a safety down, they walk a safety down over top of Bonds, he's beating those guys early. My problem with Bryce Young is his inability to throw guys open. He underthrew Ja'Cory Brooks on the first deep pass, even though Ja'Cory Brooks still could have made the catch.
Still could have caught
it. And if Ja'Cory Brooks uses his hands, first of all, let's talk about that. If he uses his hands, he catch the ball instead of trying to let it fall in his arms. Secondly, he threw Amari Knee-Black into a kill shot when Knee-Black, soon as you open up and you cross over that linebacker or that whatever is sitting in that hole, soon as he crosses that shoulder, the ball's supposed to already be out so he could run into it. And there's like a difference of maybe 5 to 7 yards between those two guys in that coverage, in that soft zone coverage. They were running a basic cover 2 on that play. And Knee-Black, he didn't sit down, but if Bryce throws it when he opens up inside, that's an easy catch and probably a big play because Knee-Black is a big guy, a big athletic guy that can bound for that tackle. But because he was trying to anticipate the hit, the ball being thrown late, he didn't make the catch. Yes, you can make the catch, but why put your receiver in that situation when you can make it easy for him by just timing and releasing the ball? And is that aspect, the deep crosser, he's yet to try it. So many times Isaiah Bonds and Prentice have been open on a deep cross. Even JoJo Earl was open last week against Ole Miss on a couple of those deep crossers, or what we like to call the deep K routes, where you're bending in and you break out to the corner. It's like he just doesn't know, he doesn't see the play develop. He has to see him open before he releases it. And even then, like I said, I still don't think he's fully confident. He may be 100% healthy. I don't think he's confident in that throwing shoulder yet. And to alleviate that, the offensive coordinator has to call things that are going to get Bryce in the rhythm early. So when it's time to throw it off timing, he doesn't feel uncomfortable throwing it off timing. You know what I'm saying? It's the small things in philosophy that matter to an offense being effective in a game. And Bill O'Brien lacks those small things. He's yet to implement them. And it's affecting our quarterback to the point where he feels like every time he has time, he needs to make more time. For what reason, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. So
Yeah, shout out first of all, defend $5 super chat.
Yes,
Love the
sir.
show, guys. Man, we appreciate that, brother. I think that, to be honest with you, why we're seeing these things is because of no trust in the offensive coordinator and also no trust in wide receivers and having to take the responsibility of being the offense and constantly having to perform and bail us out of situation after situation. I think it's done something to his mentality. He's having to do too much.
We're gonna have to put Jessica in timeout, man.
Man, Jessica, you
Jessica,
wild.
we trying to do a show here, Jessica.
I'm trying to sound like I halfway know what I'm talking about, and then I should be allowed to have a show. And here you are.
We going, Jessica. Jessica was
and
going.
Brittany's in the chat too. She's about to start. I believe she's going to jump in too. Go ahead, Brittany.
I love it. 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 And
oh my
guys,
gosh.
let's not. Hey, before we continue, let's not jump on Tennessee head
I'm
too
not
much.
Gonna say anything.
They beat us. Like they beat Bill O'Brien in our offense. Let's say that they beat us. Like, yes, we gave up 52 points, but the offense played, I think, 14 or 15 more snaps than the defense. I mean, the defense played more snaps than the offense. And usually when that happens and your offense isn't putting up the numbers, that's usually what's happening, man. So yeah, let's leave Tennessee alone. Let them get over in the corner and cry about itself. We see us too. So
speaking of Tennessee, I know they're our rival, but it is sad to see what happened to Hendon Hooker yesterday. A man who's had a tremendous story, tremendous comeback, only to, after having arguably one of the best seasons you could ask for, tore his ACL yesterday.
Yeah,
done for the rest of his year. Just, after having, so much, just such a great season, historic season, fairy tale ending to his career. He's been in the Heisman Trophy race every week and was honestly until yesterday, until the injury, was projected as a clear-cut number one winner. Now all that's just been tossed aside. I hate it for him,
Yeah, man. And he's a good guy. Like, even his energy and attitude after they beat us, it was like humble. That's why I admire him as a leader, as a
Stop it.
Guys.
Y'all wild over here quoting Joe Dirt. You're my sister. You're my sister.
Joe Dirt was a goat, man.
Yeah, Joe Dirt was my hero.
But Hendon Hooker was definitely on his way.
Oh, like, my gosh.
And I still
Brittany on cue.
I still think he has that's sad. The
Barnyard Pimp slapped the hooker.
Did y'all?
I'm not gonna. Y'all gonna make me go down a road I don't need to go down.
If I sound right, they was using the South Carolina mascot in a lot of jokes with that Tennessee beat down, and it was some very funny vulgar stuff. So I'll probably be posting some. I might do a reaction video to a lot of those tweets, man. I might do that. So y'all motivated me right now.
I will give a referral out if y'all want to have some true comedy. Go check out Funny Man's new video this week.
Oh my God, that one was good.
It was quite beautiful. Comedy legend right there. But speaking of the offense, I gotta give a shout out or a welcome to the show. Jermaine Burton had arguably the best game of his entire season and waited until game 11 against Austin Peay. But hey, dude, you're there. But the true star of the offense, without a shadow of a doubt,
Jace McClellan.
Hey, Roy Dale was doing some great things too. Didn't quite get as many touches or looks, but Jace. I mean, and I saw somebody in the comments mention earlier that Jace should be RB1. I agree with that completely, and I think that they just, not to take anything away from what Jahmyr Gibbs has done and what he kind of provides to this offense, but I kind of feel like that Jace is our RB1, our guy that we should have been given the full confidence and the full nod to from the get-go after what he's done. And last year and up until that injury, man, he was becoming like a Jahmyr, being utilized in so many different ways, which is kind of crazy. I was talking to his mom about that. Last year, Bill was being more innovative with Jace than he is this year. this year it's like I'm bound and determined to ruin what career you could have had or season you could have had. It just kind of makes no sense at all.
And we when you talk about skill sets and like ability, you want a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs to be your spell back. His first year in the system, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like Jay should have been leaned on a lot more earlier in the season, and that would have allowed Jahmyr Gibbs to be even more explosive. You put a in the run game, give him 10 to 12 touches before Jahmyr Gibbs is getting his spell touches, 3 to 6 touches in between those, plus the out the backfield passes that he can capitalize on. I feel like that would have helped the offense develop and become more cohesive rather than just feeding Gibbs, forcing the Burton, who has been inconsistent all year. Even yesterday, like his touchdown catch, I'm going to call it out. You push off on a D2 DB. You think you're going to be able to do that against be at Auburn next week? No. Like
Nope.
you got lucky, my guy. You got lucky. And I've been on Burton's neck since he was at Georgia. I've never bought into Jermaine Burton. I felt like he was one of those guys that looked pretty running routes. He make routes look good, had the nice footwork videos and everything. Yeah, you hyped me up a little bit, but on the field, you never really produced at Georgia, which is why you had to leave. You came here, and we believed all the hype about your maturity. You always want to give the guys the benefit of the doubt when Coach Saban allows them to walk into the locker room and labels them as a quote unquote leader, especially with guys in the wide receiver room. But then you go out there and you're not even a top producer. Like in the big games where we need you, you don't produce. You showed up against Utah State, great job, and now you show up against Austin Peay. Like, what about Tennessee? What about when we need you against? Like, you didn't even show up against Mississippi State. You didn't show up against LSU. Like the gauntlet of our schedule, just like you did when you were at Georgia. You did not show up. So that's why I gave you the look, man. Jermaine Burton to me is like a lost cause. When those snaps could have been going to Kendrick Law early in the season. I feel like Kendrick Law is just dealing with timing right now, not having a feel for the game because he hasn't been getting the snaps. But that guy could have been way more of an impact earlier in the season than what we're getting from Jermaine Burton.
Oh, I agree completely. And I will say, even though he didn't have a lot of catches yesterday, I did notice that that Kendrick Law did have a lot of targets. He just was able to come away with a lot of catches, but it was refreshing to see that we started looking his way more. We'd like to have seen more looks towards JoJo Earl. We didn't get that. Defensively, coming into this game, we were at -7 turnover ratio. But we did do a little bit better yesterday. We had 3 turnovers yesterday, 2 picks, 1 to Brian Branch, 1 to Kool-Aid. And then we had that.
Both of those guys play great, man. Let me tell y'all. And we haven't talked much about the defense because we focus on Bill O'Brien and his lack of intelligence and his made up title as an offensive coordinator that we bought into as a program. I don't know why we did that, but defensively, Pete Golden had those guys ready. Yeah, they drove the ball the first 2 or 3 drives, and like I said, waking up and playing in that cold weather at 11 o'clock. When you're usually just getting up and getting ready for your first team meeting and your first pregame meal, and you're just getting to the trainers to get whatever work you do. Like that's what usually is happening at 11 o'clock for most of these players. Because 2 o'clock, they're getting ready to start warm-ups. They're getting ready to go to the field, warm up, all this good stuff. But I can see the energy change on the defensive side in the second half. No credit to Toa. But definitely some credit to Otis, credit to Young, Dallas Turner.
Definitely. Whoo, blew some people up.
Otis was blowing guys up for a whole drive, like 6 or 7 plays straight. It was just the cleanup wasn't happening. Toa refuses to let Otis make him look like a star. Like you have the perfect case scenario sitting right in front of you every run play, Henry Toa, and you continue to let this guy after Otis cleans up 2 or 3 blocks for you. He's still giving you a little assistance with his arm, and you can't come through and clean a guy up that's not even expecting you. You want to go and find forget him. Anyways, back to Brian Branch. I almost called him Deion Branch, but Brian Branch.
You went old school right there, Deion Branch.
Hey, that's who he looked like, man. He looked like not even Deion Sanders. He looked like
Coach
old
Prime.
school. He looked like old school Prime. The way he was tracking the
Man,
ball yesterday.
he was. Yeah.
Even Kool-Aid, man, just a lot more physical. I see his head turning and trying to find the ball. I really would love to see Terry and Arnold at safety, man,
That's where he
because the
needs to
guy,
be.
he makes a lot of recovery plays. He gets beat a lot off the line, but his recovery speed and his range is something that we haven't been able to see since probably Eddie Jackson.
Yeah.
We talk about like range, catching up under the ball, getting beat, but catching up, getting a hand on the ball, ball skills are there. It's just he's not a cover corner. And I would love to see him in battle spot, and you slide battle to the strong, let him help with run support, short pass game, and move Helms to a slot with Moody or Lawson, spelling him on the weak side. Like, I feel like that would be a good personnel change for this defense right now, especially with Rick's coming back next week, and you still have Branch playing the nickel corner. I mean, like, why not, Pete? Why not, Coach Saban? Let's throw it out there. Auburn wouldn't know what to do if they seen DeMarco Hellams line up at inside linebacker, because we know Hellams gonna hit. We
He
know
will
if he
hit.
not.
There's no question. He'll stick his head in a pile. He'll go through a gap. He'll he'll knock the living out of somebody. I got no doubt that he will
He
do
might
that.
get burnt. He might get burnt. But I feel like if Helms had to cover a tight end on a crosser or a running back coming out the backfield, we wouldn't see a lot of running backs releasing so freely inside, because they know that this dude is going to hit me. We wouldn't see a tight end walking across to 4 or 5 yards down the field, walking across the middle of our defense, because he sees Toa sitting there lost in the backfield, looking in the backfield, when he knows that he's Toa's key. Like, those are the small things that I have yet to see. I feel like Jeremy Pruitt, I feel like Kirby, I feel like I forget Tosh Lapoy. I feel like those guys would have made those type of moves already. We
Oh, no
saw it
doubt.
happen. We saw it happen when 26 Landon Collins. When Landon Collins was at Bama, we saw him get moved down to that outside linebacker, strong safety position plenty of times. And we used him in a lot more blitzes than we've seen Helms get used. Maybe Branches, being that efficient in it, but I would love to see Helms get moved down and let some more cover guys come and play over top.
Jessica, stop.
Jessica,
Jessica's on fire. Auburn Hate Week. Y'all hear about the Auburn football player who died drinking milk? Cow fell on him.
Jesus Christ, Jessica. I hope none of your family members are Auburn fans, Jessica, because you
Listen.
I really pray none of her family members are Tennessee or Auburn fans, because they probably, like, when it come to football, I have an aunt. She's a diehard Auburn fan. I love her to death, but this week she can't get no love from me. But I'm not gonna take no shots at her, because my aunt kind of she kind of thuggish, you know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I hear you. Kay, I didn't notice any green mouthpieces this game. Did Bo snatch those up after his speech and throw them in the Black Warrior River? It's quite possible. He probably did that before he jumped on his plane and headed back to Dallas. Corey Lewis, I agree, man. Put Earl Little Jr. out there. Why not, man? This guy, I think, when given the opportunity, is going to be it. Perfect opportunity to see what he could do would have been just yesterday. You have nothing to lose.
Yes.
Get him meaningful reps. Matthew Paye, we need as much emotion in football as our basketball team has. No joke. Gosh, I want to get excited about basketball. I did last year, only to be burned. But then again, this year, these guys seem to have a different mindset. They seem to know the assignment, especially these young dudes who've come in. But this is a football show, so we're going to talk football. But I promise
we lost a lot last year from basketball too, man. We lost a lot, a lot of guys. Yeah, we lost a lot. But I wanted to make a comment about the secondary with Earl Little Jr. Like, next year, we got a chance to see some studs get thrown out into the fire, man. I mean, you got Caleb Downs, Jaleel Hurley coming in. You got Tony Mitchell coming in, but you got Earl Little Jr. You're gonna have a junior in Kool-Aid. Do we get Malachi Moore back? I don't think Branch stays.
Yeah, Malcolm needs to come back. I think Branch needs
I,
to come back, just to kind of get a little bit more polishing. But if he goes, I mean, I can see it. But I say
yeah,
get your draft stock up a little bit, come back, refine yourself, especially if we
I
have a new
think
defense coordinator.
Eric Bowden. I see you say Jake Pope. Jake Pope is going to surprise a lot of people. I
He
don't
will.
think he's going to be in this corner slot like he wants to play. I think Jake Pope is going to be our next Vinny Sinceri.
Ooh, I like that, especially
Yes,
from a
that boy.
physicality standpoint.
Yes.
Brian Green, you bring
With
up
Caleb
an
down.
excellent point, Brian Green. Bama was sluggish. Glad Bama didn't even play an average team yesterday. Can't sack an FCS quarterback. That's another glaring stat. 0 sacks, ladies and gentlemen. Don't know if you're keeping score at home, but Alabama had 0 sacks. That jersey was clean as it could be. Gosh, how do you not get him down for at least 4 or 5 sacks? Come on, man. You can't tell me that offensive line is stronger than anything you've played against thus far in the SEC. But then again, it kind of goes with the theme of this year.
You know what? I give credit to the offensive coordinator. I didn't see, I saw maybe 8 or 9 dropbacks, like really 3 to 5 step drops, and even the deep passes, like they were not traditional dropbacks. The double pass, you saw that deep pass, the quick release when he saw 0 coverage, it was a step and throw. Like they didn't give us an opportunity to have to play your keys. You can't just send, and I mean you can send pressure, but you get guys out of position. So I give credit to their offensive coordinator. They played their game plan. They played their style of play, and I respect them for that. Jihad Campbell, that's my dude, man. I'm telling you.
Yes, that's another name we could have seen yesterday, but we didn't get to see it. So before we get any more angry, let's put this game to bed. This is Iron Bowl week, man.
Let's get it.
We need to talk a little bit about that. Right now, Alabama comes in as a 21-point favorite over Auburn. I'm a little nervous. First of all, I'm not a betting man, but if I was a betting man, I would tell you straight up, do not take that. I think Vegas is trying to bait you. Now, if Alabama turns that Bama Standard button on and plays to the full capacity of Bama, I can see that. I can see a 21-point spread. I can see it going beyond that. But this isn't the same group of guys. This is not the same mentality. But I'm looking at the other side of the field. They got some dudes. Robbie Ashford has been taking his bumps this year. He's been horrible at times. He's been very good at times. That he's a freshman. It's going to happen. But he also has had a lot of negative thrown his way, especially with incompetent coaches as well as a very bad offensive line. But Jarquez Hunter, Tank Bigsby, some dudes at running back just haven't been really utilized. They got some guys, but what strikes me the most is Cadillac. Say what you want about Auburn season right now, but ever since Brian Harsin has exited, that team has come together. They didn't pull one out against Mississippi State. They could have, but they didn't. But they're playing with heart and passion and determination. They want to win for Cadillac, and shame on Auburn for not even considering Cadillac for the coaching position. It's wrong. I think this man should be given an opportunity. I think his name should be propped up as much as some of these other big names y'all are trying to force feed us. First of all, Lane Kiffin's not going to Auburn. So all you analysts and all you people out there, stop it. He's not going. It's a lateral move.
Lane
And
is waiting for Saban to leave.
He is, but Auburn is never going to give him the full control he would need to make that program a success. And then two, all his quirks, his personality, his coaching style did not mesh with the older money guys at Auburn. Now, the young folks love him. We all love him. But the old generation who controls the machine over there, they don't like that. So he's not a cultural fit there. And he would not be allowed to succeed. So I want that to be put to rest. Stop it. It's going to be Hugh Freeze, or it's going to be Baylor's former coach, or maybe somebody else that we haven't thought about. Yeah. So Hugh Freeze, Matt Rule, but just go ahead and scratch out Lane Kiffin. Now back to this game, I just don't know. Again, like we went to the Ole Miss game, I wasn't sure what our mentality would be. And this is a game of pride. This is a pride title. This is your rival. This is Big Brother. This is a game that, regardless of how you've played the entire season and season past, there's no question you're going to get up. You're going to be ready. You're going to do your thing against Auburn.
I'm getting pumped up right now, brother. Just thinking about it, like, oh man, like if these guys don't come out and play with some type of intensity, I know something, man. I know for a fact that the writing's on the wall. You know, we already know who's leaving, but for this weekend, what I expect us to run the ball. I think we don't have a choice. I feel like Bryce knows how much this game means to his legacy, you know, after what he did last year. I feel like these wide receivers are going to get opportunities to show that they can be, you know, impact players. I feel like this is the game where those guys who've been dropping the ball, they're going to get exposed early and going to be set down. Like I said, man, I believe this is the game Saban says, okay, last one, this me. All right, Bill, run the ball. Oh, you don't want to run the ball? I'll take over. You know, all right, Toa, you don't want to tackle? Either you fake this injury, catch a cramp or two, or I'm going to sit you down. You know, that's the type of thing. I see big things happening for Alabama football where we end this season on a high note. That's what I expect because just of, you know, history has a weird way of repeating itself. And every time Saban has had his back up against the wall, where it's to the point where it's like clear that he needs to win. He needs to win to keep the hopes alive for this recruiting class, to keep the alumni bought in, to keep the future of his staff, you know, for people that he's probably talking to and have his analysts talking to on the outside that he's trying to bring in, like for them to believe in what he's preaching and what can be next season. He needs this Auburn win. And then it's a home game too, guys. I can't y'all got to remember, we lost 2 games this season by a total of 4 points. Both away games. With horrible play calling, horrible tackling from a middle linebacker. I mean, even no show from our star player on the defense side, Will Anderson sometimes. Like, we lost a total of 2 games by a total of 4 points. That's literally one penalty. You know, one of those games was 17 penalties. Right? So,
right.
If we just be honest with ourselves, our standard has been a horrible season, but Kentucky would love to be 9-2 right now. Like, Vanderbilt is happy that they beat Florida for the first time in 7 however many years. Yeah. Like, Auburn would love to be 9-2. Mississippi State, everybody would love to be in Alabama position and just be cool with it. But because we're Alabama, we know what it requires. You know, we know what it feels like to be, you know, at the peak. It's been a while since we've had to be mixed up in the middle and not the point of, and the fact that we're even still the point of conversation, knowing that we don't have a chance. We still have the playoffs, but me personally, I don't think we deserve it. I don't want to see this team go to the playoffs. Honestly, this group of guys, I don't want to see Henry To'oTo'o in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when I like to bet my money. You know, I like to bet with my homies when the playoffs and the postseason come around. Like, no, I'm not betting on Henry To'oTo'o saving a tackle in the playoffs. You know, like, no. So I feel like this is the week, man, that we see Coach Saban be gutsy Saban. You know, put Najee Harris in the second half. Put Tua Tonga. I see that Coach Saban showing up this weekend. Bryce Young, you got to use your legs this week because Auburn's defensive front is not a pushover, and our O-line has been great. But Bryce, you're gonna have to put pressure on that defense with your legs. It's not, you can't do it with your arm. You're showing us that for the past 3 weeks, you can't do it with your arm. You're gonna have to use your legs, and we're gonna have to use the quick game and the tempo a lot in this game. And it can't be bubble screen quick game. It could be
please stop
read option, RPO look, but it doesn't have to be RPO concept. The bubble screen has to go. You know, you almost got Kobe Prentice killed running that bubble screen. And then my thing is, Bryce didn't make the right read because Prentice pulled the guy out of coverage to open up the release route as Isaiah Bonds had going down the sideline. A selfish player looks at the ball and lets the defender possibly pick it off, but Prentice being a selfless player and a team player, he still tried to make this catch, and almost got. I mean, the game could have been knocked out the game. So let's just hope this week these boys understand what this week means.
Jessica, Toto is spying the quarterback, the spy who hugged me.
And Ashford gonna mix him up. If Toto and Ashford is in open field 1-on-1, or man, pray to God Tank Bigsby don't break through to the second level and it be Toto.
Toto's going to try to dance with him and probably piss down his leg. I don't like our chances if he is the last line of defense going against Tank Bigsby or Jarquez Hunter. Both very qualified running backs.
I think.
Go ahead. I had to fill in some time because you
glitched
man, out again.
I'm telling you, this is the game he's going. Oh Lord, look, I think this is the game that Toa gets to fake that injury and it lasts. You know what I'm saying? Like he gets to put those acting skills to use for something good. And if he wanted to help this Bama team this week, hey man, fake an injury. I wouldn't even have you fake an injury in practice. Go ahead and let coach know, hey coach, this hamstring injury is what's been holding me up all year. I don't want to mess up this week. It took me 11 weeks to 12 weeks to figure it out that the hamstring is what's been my problem. Can I get one of those cool sweatsuits that we got in the locker room? I want one of those, and I want to wear my nice chain and my earrings if that's cool with you, coach.
Hey, listen, once the season's over, Henry Toa can actually go try out for Dancing with the Stars, and they're probably going to ask him, do you have any dancing experience? And then he hands them game film.
Game film, easy. And I got 24 weeks worth of it.
And he goes right to the finals.
24 weeks. Facts.
Brian Green thinks
Henry gonna be a pilot.
Hugging players. All right, Brian Green, you cannot leave us hanging. Hey, why do you think Henry is hugging players?
You don't want him to say that on this show, man. We try to. We're a viewer friendly show.
There's a lot of things that I've actually ignored in this chat because I can't say some of the things on this show.
Yes.
We need to get some of these people on the show, especially some of these people who are acting crazy.
If I had better Wi-Fi, I would share them, but I'm not even gonna try it with this setup over here.
Okay, so keep it coming, folks. We love the chat, and you are what makes us. Hey, if you hadn't done so already, hey, we got a lot of people who are on live with us. Hit that like button. We need that like button tap. We need some love. If I don't see over 100 likes, I'm gonna be very upset. And if we get to 200 likes, I might take the top people in the chat and have them as guest hosts on the show. Is that motivation?
I would love that, man. I would love that. I would love to see some of y'all faces and just give a segment where they could actually give live reactions. I feel like that would be a definite big thing, especially this Iron Bowl week. So y'all, hey, get those likes up, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and even share. I see a lot of y'all on the Facebook pages commenting on TDA's content. Hey, share it to your personal pages, because if you have Alabama fans who just want to hear some real Alabama, you all have given me the confidence to continue to share my perspective. So I appreciate y'all. So definitely drop likes, shares, man. Drop those and shares.
Yeah, drive them.
Right now,
need it.
We should have at least 80 to 100 likes right now. You know what I'm saying? So
without doubt, big. If I jump off this live real quick to check on that, and I don't see what we need to see, we're gonna have problems. I'm gonna give y'all a Bo Scarborough speech like we had Thursday.
And you better not have no green mouthpieces. Better not have no.
Exactly. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh,
guys, we have our first official Auburn person. Welcome to the chat.
Welcome to the chat.
We invite everybody in. We're not going to be those typical people who, say, "Hey, get the F out of here. You not a Bama fan." No,
Hey,
we welcome all. So feel free to come on.
I just got one question. Are y'all showing up as tigers or birds this week? We just need to know so we can make the proper accommodations. Do we need to have a steak sent off to you for your pregame meal, or do we need bird seats? Because that's been bothering me my whole life. Are you a bird? Are you a
hey, be
tiger? Are
nice.
you a
We're getting a
flying
subscription
cat?
out of this. We're getting a subscription here. We're
Like,
getting a
let me
subscription.
know. Let me know.
I don't need Coach Petty to run off people.
Nah, you here now?
We are going to introduce a new segment at some point called Coach Petty, where Coach Smook just kind of goes off on one of his petty rants.
It'll
And
be
trust me,
ready after the
if you have
Iron Bowl.
not
I
kept
promise
up
you.
with him online, then you are missing out on pure gold. But yeah, Dylan, yes, is Bo Scarborough going to tell us what he said to the team Tuesday? He's going to talk, folks, and the guests we're going to
Man,
have to talk to intensify what he's saying. You want to tune in because he's not shy. But let's get back. Let's kind of reel it back in, get back to football. We're having fun with y'all, and we appreciate you guys. So, kind of two things I want to look at. Previous game, yes, we put to bed, but we need to look at who were our MVPs, offensive and defensive. And then I want to kind of focus on who needs to be the MVPs of the Iron Bowl. But first things first, let's talk about Austin Peay game. Coach Smoot, I'll let you pick your MVP offense and defense, and then I'll give mine, and then we'll move on to the next part of this.
okay. Offensively, we going to give it to Jace. Jace was
Mm-hmm.
definitely our energy. He was the catalyst for that offense. He made up for a lot of mistakes that Bryce made. And the receivers, the miscues that the receivers had with Bryce. The offensive line played good. They did their job, and Jace allowed them to look good. So Jace on the offense. Defensively, we're going to give it to I want to say Jaheim Otis, man.
Yeah.
Jaheim Otis was my defensive player. Brian Branch did what he does.
He was on a roll, guys. I get excited with what he's saying. I think cancel culture, it just kind of creeps its way in and just stops the momentum that Coach Smook has. I think that he was saying Jaheim Otis, MVP 1A and possibly Brian Branch 1B, which is very justifiable considering how well that Brian Branch has played several weeks now, not just yesterday, but he is definitely one of the most pivotal players on that defense. He just doesn't get quite the love of a Will Anderson or a Dallas Turner, which is a crime because Brian really has upped his game, and this is a guy that we definitely need to have return next year and kind of up his stock and kind of be one of those leaders on this new defense we're going to be looking at next year. I don't want to think about it just yet, but if I have to think about it, I definitely want Brian Branch to be one of those guys kind of leading the way, being that the alpha male, that head honcho that kind of sets the tone for the locker room. Gregory Pace. Hey, Jessica, I bet Henry T got his anxiety from wearing Huggies all the time when he was younger. And of course, Jessica, being Jessica, we love you guys. I bet it was those Door Explorer ones too. Y'all are a mess. But listen, I guess since Coach Smoke just kind of got boosted off, I guess because of Boost Mobile Wi-Fi, I'm gonna go ahead and give mine, and hopefully he'll be back in time. And there you are. I think you were saying that 1B was going to be Brian Branch. Am I correct? Before you got shoved out of here by your provider?
Yes, that's what I was saying. It's overbearing now. Everybody's up now. They're doing their thing on their different devices. It's like 40 devices connected to this, and it's bad. But yeah, I was saying Jaheim Otis 1A for defense, and definitely Brian Branch 1B. Those two are just they're consistent players for our defense with all the holes, all the lack of what we want out of the interior of that defense. Jaheim Otis really saves a lot of plays and opens it up for guys to clean up, like Will Anderson. I would love to see him be an impact this week. So Yeah, those are my MVPs for this past week.
Gotcha. As far as my MVPs, I'm gonna go on the defense first. Gotta say, yeah, Brian Branch, like I was saying before you came back on, a guy that has just been a warrior, consistent piece to that defense, a very pivotal part in that defense, and really keeping us together. And I just think that he's not getting his roses enough, and he's going to be a very important part next year. Pray comes back. I think that he really sets the tone in the locker room. Will be a great leader. You see his leadership on the field and what he can provide from a playing standpoint. But I hope that carries over to a vocal standpoint. As far as my offensive MVP, I gotta mirror you, my boy Jace McClellan. 17 carries, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ran with purpose, ran with fire. It ran with like he was from the color purple. All my life, I had to fight. That's what I saw from
All
him
my
every
life.
play. Stiff arms to the face, just running through people like they were
Strong.
kids.
Strong.
Yeah, can't sing his praises enough. So yeah, that's who we got. Curious to see who y'all have as your MVPs for the Austin Peay contest. As y'all write those down, we will transition over to who needs to be the MVPs this week. Of course, obvious. Bill O'Brien needs to show up. If he doesn't show up his entire career, let it be this game. Please let it be.
Please.
I'm looking to the upperclassmen this game, man. This is the game where the upperclassmen need to put their stamp on their career. These upperclassmen, it's even the ones who are leaving early to go to the NFL. They're looking at being 3-0 against Auburn. It's been a while since any class has been able to say that. 2-0 is the most we've ever gotten, at least for a good while. But they have a chance to be 3-0 against Auburn, and that's not something to be taken lightly. So if I'm going to go with what I'm saying, the upperclassmen, offensively, Bryce, let it be you. Put that stamp on your career. You didn't win a national championship as a starter, but you go out with that record against Auburn. Give us a game that we talk about in a positive way. And for the rest of our lives, we'll get a Daniel Moore print from it. You do your thing. Defensively, Mr. Anderson, obvious choice. Let it be you. Do your thing on the field, but also do your thing as a leader. Be a vocal leader. Get in the face of your teammates. Challenge them. Remind them what this game is. And I don't care if a lot of those people are not from Alabama and they're from California or wherever it is. Friday or Saturday, we all are from Alabama.
This is about pride. Saturday, and these guys got to know that starting tomorrow and because they're not in class this week. You get what I'm saying? They're not in classes this week. I think they have finals on Tuesday, and then they're released for their fall break. So
yeah,
most of these guys are done with classes for the week. A lot of a lot of the Bama, the University of Bama knows how important they know how important this week is. So if you've never been set up for success to focus and be ready for a game, this game, I believe everybody understands the importance. It's about if these players are going to buy into it and they're going to understand the level of importance it is. And like you said, man, I'm with Bryce, man. I'm with you with Bryce. I need Bryce to just trust, at least give your receivers a chance early. Give those guys an early chance, because your offensive line, I don't see our offensive line buying you 6 and 7 seconds in this game. They're going to give you the 3 to 4 seconds that you need. I feel like the offensive line is going to do their job, especially if we lean on the run game. And if we have McClellan featured with Gibbs and Roydell to spot, then we could have a successful offense no matter how the receivers do. And then defensively, let's hide Toa. Honestly, I don't see Ashford being an accurate deep threat for us. I see their receivers creating space maybe sometimes, but his inaccuracy
But this
is going to
this is
be.
the game where people show up. And this is a game where we need to take Robbie Ashford seriously. And like someone
You know
mentioned in
what?
chat before, we need to get a spy on him, unlike what we did against Jaden Daniels. Take him
Facts.
seriously.
That's the only thing I believe. I've looked at that guy's eyes. I've looked in the Astros' eyes multiple games, and he has this look of uncertainty every time he's behind the center. And if we were playing in Auburn, super scared. Like I would be super scared. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd be like a 8. But we at home, I don't care how a team is played. I know all this Iron Bowl is going to be sold out. We're going to pack it out. That guy's he's going to have the deer in the headlight looks, and we're going to have an opportunity to disrupt him early. Pete Golden, send the fire early. Don't even give Toa a chance to be a spot. Send him. Let Helens be your spot and make the DBs cover. Make those guys be athletes. You got Ricks back. You got Kool-Aid back on the corner. You got Branch back there. You got Battle who can play over top of all of that. And then if you need to, run a dime set. Rotate Moody, Toa, and Austin in the middle to your fifth man on the pressure. Like, keep it simple for these guys to just play football and to be aggressive and to just handle business. At the end of the day, you got to play football. Are you going to let the man across the field beat you? That's the question. That's the question. And I believe the intensity that Kool-Aid played with, the intensity that Branch plays with, the intensity that Battle plays with in that secondary, that could be infectious if we see a few plays in the backfield from Will Anderson, from Dallas Turner,
Absolutely.
from maybe Toa can hug Ashford one time behind the line of scrimmage, and or even if I don't think Auburn's O-line can hold up a consistent rotation of Otis, Burrows, and Young. You know what I'm saying? I don't think. That's just my personal opinion. When those guys are locked in, Otis is a problem, man. Why do we not allow that guy to just be 60-70% of the snaps? I don't want to see Dale out there hugging people. DJ Dale is a problem too. He, as long as he was off the field, our interior was effective. But Otis and Burrows have to be that guy, and let Latham get out there. That boy's he's aggressive, man. He may not be the quickest, but I will say this: it was one play. Latham, when he chased down the swing pass out to the perimeter, he was behind the plate and made the cut. Like, he read it wasn't even swing; it was a screen. They tried to run a screen, and Latham pulled off of his blitz, off of his rush, and made it out to be support in that. And it was a negative play. A big guy like that with that type of effort should be recognized and rewarded with more snaps. So we just need to allow guys who want to bring the intensity to get on that field and play football.
I agree. Hey, and you mentioned a very important guy that I should have thought about too. Upperclassman, Byron Young, guy has been a stud, absolute alpha male these past several games. Made a big difference in what we were able to do up front. Let this man loose again. Do your thing, young man. Do your thing. But yeah.
Hey, question right there in the chat. John Densmore, before we go. John Densmore, he said the question would be, how many times will the O-line let Bryce get hit in the blind spot? How many times is Bryce Young going to stop looking off the receivers when he has when they're making the right reads on the blitz and replacing the blitz? Why is he not releasing it to them? He has to identify that his O-linemen are they're doing a protection that he's calling out. He has control of the protection. So Bryce, do your homework. These guys are going to come. Do your homework. Steen is not. They say Steen is going to be back for the game.
What percent though? You're going to have. That's the thing. What percent is Tyler Steen going to be? Because that looked like a nasty injury this past Saturday. But
it did. But we got to rely on Robbie Oops too in our run game too. That guy, let him lead. Let him pop that in and go second level and pop them outside linebackers on those run plays whenever you're trying to stretch it. Stop putting the running back in one-on-one or one-on-threes against the outside linebacker and a DB. Put Oops in there to put his hat on somebody, because the two is not going to try to crush nobody. The two is not that type of tight end. He's a hard worker, but he's not going to be that guy. Let Oots get some snaps and be physical. We need physicality this week. That's the word, physicality and aggression.
Hey, shout out to Robbie Oots for that one pass that he caught. He broke a few ankles, got a first down. Liked what I saw from that guy. Jessica,
I keep
our
telling
most
y'all.
popular person. If I see that 146 against Auburn, I'll fire Pete myself. I don't think there's anybody who would disagree with you there, Jessica. But listen, we've been on here an hour and a half. Man, you make it fun, guys. We
Yes.
didn't realize how much time flies by. First of all, hit that like button if you hadn't done so already. If you hadn't subscribed, I want to see some can't talk subscriptions go up tonight. But listen, I'm gonna turn it over to you, Coach. I want you to prompt what you got going on, and I want you to be able to tell the fans how they can find you, social media, YouTube, all that good stuff. You know, he's not just a big part here, but he's got some things that he's doing himself. You guys need to be a part of. Take it away.
Hey guys, you can all check me out on YouTube at Coach Smoot. I'm gonna try to get this out before the signal start acting crazy again. But yeah, check me out on Coach Smoot at Coach Smoot on YouTube at Coach Smoot. You got me messing up now. At Coach Smoot. We're gonna get the game day chat going this weekend for the Iron Bowl. I'm gonna do the first half, and I'm very interactive. I'm just commentating the game. Jamie Wilhelm came through and blew my head up. You know, got passed up saying, you know, he turned to get commentators down and was listening to me. Hey, I'm gonna eat it up, man. You know, this is new for me. So, game day chat will be live at kickoff for the Iron Bowl. I'll be live. It's gonna be, you know, straight up fan coach style. You know, speaking the real. You know, talking out plays, talking out my perspective, listening to your comments, responding to your comments, and then we also have the pregame, halftime, and post-game quick reactions. They're not there for you to all comment and everything, but they will be videos continue to be posted. And then this offseason, we're going to continue to bring Alabama content. Myself and Justin been talking about getting some things together. We're going to find a way to keep you guys engaged with the Alabama football program during the offseason. So, yeah,
and
man,
give us ideas too.
It's a lot of things popping, and we're just ready for it, man. Appreciate you, Justin.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
See you on it.
Great show as always. Remember, Auburn fans put their diplomas on their dashboards to legally use handicap spots. I had something I wanted to say, but it was completely disrupted because she can't behave. Oh, listen, before I start talking, I want to take this time to say, chat, give us your score predictions for the Iron Bowl. While you do that, I'm going to take the time to talk to you about what we got going on for the Bama Standard Iron Bowl week. A lot of y'all have been begging for it. Y'all want to know exactly what Bo Scarborough said to the team and not the politically correct version that you heard on in my own words. You have an opportunity this Tuesday night on the Bama Standard on Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. We will be live. It will be myself, Stephen M. Smith, former 1999 All-SEC linebacker Marvin Constant, two-time national champion and USFL champion Bo Scarborough, comedy legend Steve Brown, and our guest this week will be Christian Jones. If you're not, I'm sure y'all remember this guy. Had a wild game against Virginia Tech, opening game 2014. Had 3 touchdowns. LSU showed up against Auburn 2014.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that 2014 game. Man, great game with Blake Sims. Man, threw 4 or 5 interceptions, was able to overcome all that and come away with an amazing victory against Auburn. But yeah, you definitely want to tune into that because one, you're going to hear what Bo has to say, and already know how Marvin Constant is going to talk. He's not going to shy away. But if you're not familiar with how vocal Christian Jones is, if you don't follow him on Twitter, you're going to enjoy this. I promise you that. But yeah, check us out. And I believe we got a new show starting Wednesday night with former Alabama wide receiver Matt Caddell. We're still trying to put that in motion, so be on the lookout for that. You definitely want to jump in a live chat with him, help him out, show him some love, ask him a lot of questions. Yes. He's definitely got some Iron Bowl memories to share with everyone. And always, like Coach Mook said, we're going to be back next Sunday night to recap the Auburn Alabama game, the Iron Bowl. and the weekend as a whole, and then just kind of, talk about what we're going to see going forward. Maybe, what bowl game we'll be looking at. If we win, we do our thing. We're going to a New Year's Six bowl. That's a great bowl to go to. We'll talk about the possibility of players opting out.
Yes.
And we may even entertain the thought of, if chaos happens, getting into the playoff. But I'm kind of going back and forth with that. But yeah,
I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over it. I don't even want to see it. Like, I don't want to see Bill O'Brien call another play for us after the Iron Bowl. Honestly, if Bill O'Brien takes the head coaching job wherever and goes to another university or goes to the NFL and doesn't coach the bowl game, I'm happy. After the Iron Bowl, let's let Bill go. That's the motto. Let Bill go. LBG. Everybody in the chat, hashtag LBG. Let Bill
Lord.
go, man. and before we go, my score prediction, I feel like being that we're at home, and we have the opportunity to just solidify our season, I feel like deep down in my heart, I feel like we buy in this week. I'm looking at Alabama 38, Auburn 12.
Ooh.
That's a few field goals. That's a few field goals right there. That's I don't see their offense being able to capitalize. And if like I said, if we were in Auburn, different story. I'm scared, but we're at home, y'all. This is we've played good at home this season. We've done what we had to do. And it's exactly, this is not like last year where we have to go down there to end the season. We have to. This is the end of our season right here at home. And I think those guys understand that, and we see a different energy. We see a different passion. We may see a couple personal fouls. I would love to see Will Anderson get a personal foul, for a late hit, like really trying to take somebody's head off. Like, I would love to see that to start the game off. Not in the key moment of the game. Do it in the first snap. Otis, blow the center up. Jump outside, blow the center up, knock his head off first snap. Let's see it, y'all. Roll Tide. I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
I am too. Hey, tell everybody to be present for the Bama Standard on Tuesday night. I want to set a record for most live viewers for that show. Show your support for Iron Bowl week by coming and checking us out. But listen, as always, man, it's an absolute pleasure to do business with you, Coach Smoot. Everybody in the chat, y'all are superstars. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate the donations, the super chats. Definitely appreciate the 100+ likes that we're supposed to be getting and all the subscriptions that are coming. Milestone this week, we hit over 2,000 subscribers on this channel. We have done it in a short amount of time. Wouldn't happen without you guys. Again, thank y'all for everything. That'll do it for the Bama Standard Post Game show. For me and Coach Smook, roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Yes, go.
Let's do it. Yes, sir.